Ahoy! How are you? Well, I hope. So today's episode, um, I don't want to call it a setback, but a little bit of a challenge. I decided that before I rebuilt both carburetors, at a minimum, I should check the fuel pump. There's a lot of stuff on the forums that talk about Corvair's proclivity to failing fuel pumps. Now they're supposed to put 4 to 5 pounds of pressure out. So I decided to buy, I bought a new gauge. This one designed specifically, you can see how low the PSI, so it'd be easy to read. The fuel pump gauges that I have are designed for higher PSI and didn't really get you down to this nitty gritty like this. And then I also purchased this fitting because, oddly enough, a Corvair doesn't have hose fuel lines. They've got aluminum fuel lines. So you have to get fittings like this. And I thought I had nailed it. Got a male end and a female end. This would go into the carburetor. And this end is where the fuel line would go in and thread in. Well, here, take a look. Here's a video that I had started intending to put all this together before I discovered the problem. But here, take a look. One of the things I need to check before we start tearing into carburetors is this fuel pump right there in the middle of your screen. Now that bad boy is supposed to be pumping out 4 to 5 pounds of pressure to each of the carburetors. I don't know if it is, but if it's not, that's certainly a problem. So I have purchased this fitting. You can see threaded at the top for the fuel gauge, which will easily give me my 4 to 5 pounds. And this goes right here. That'll thread into there, and this will thread into here. And hopefully we're getting 4 to 5 pounds of pressure, because presently, at least at Clark's Corvair and California Corvair, that fuel pump is not available. And there's lots of dialogue that even the new ones fail or don't give the correct pressure, and everybody's saying we need to go electric, which I'm not necessarily excited about. But we'll see. So let's go ahead and put this gauge in and see what we've got. Right. So as you can see, the male end is quite tall. It bottoms out. The head here, quite frankly, I think needs to be sheared off to get me to the thread so that I can thread this into the carburetor. The idea, this goes into the carburetor, fuel line comes in here, and then this, of course, goes here. I think I even showed that in a video, I don't recall. Lo and behold, you start her up, and we see if it's, pumping out 4 to 5 pounds. Well, I can't, because this doesn't fit into the carburetor because the male end is just too long. Now, I've looked a little bit on the internet to see if there's anybody that's got anything short. It doesn't seem to exist. So I'm probably going to take this to work and ask my friend, Mr. Buchanan. He's got the right kind of tools to just take that head off and allow me to thread it in, because I only want to check the pressure. Yes, I checked the other end. I have the same problem with the fuel pump itself. This also is way too long. The real concern is if the pump that's currently in the car is not producing the 4 to 5 pounds, at least California Corvair and Clark's Corvair, that particular fuel pump, well, there's 2 versions, have been discontinued and they're no longer available. Now, I haven't dug around to see if Napa or any of the other aftermarket auto places produce a fuel pump like that. And then if they do, odds are they're probably made in Bangladesh or China. And then the greater concern is coming from those manufacturers. One, how long will they last? And 2, will they even produce the proper 4 to 5 pounds of pressure. Everything I've read, it sounds like they're somewhat unreliable, which is probably typical. But I'm hoping I can find one, I'm willing to spare no expense, get a proper fuel pump that puts out the proper pressure. Assuming this one is bad, which I'm not assuming, but if we find that it's bad, that means I've got to purchase an electric fuel pump, which from what I've read, for 65, I've got to drill through some frame rails because an electric fuel pump, as you all know, pushes the fuel and doesn't pull the fuel. So you've got to get that pump closer to the front of closer to the tank. In this instance, the gas tank is in the front, not the back of the car. But at some point, I've got to drill through a frame rail, which isn't a big deal. It's just, quite honestly, it's just exhausting. So I'm hopeful that Buchanan can lop that off. I can thread this into one of the carburetors. Here, I'll show you a couple of pictures of what I'm talking about, like a close-up. You'll see how very shallow the line is. We're at the Corsair. You'll see here. Well, here, just take a look. Never a break. See how shallow that is? There's no way that male end is going in there. It just bottoms out. So I guess essentially I purchased the wrong fitting, or I need to figure out a way to cut this off, which I'm not going to do. See if I can get this to work. God damn it. Right. Hopefully he can lop that off. I can thread this in. We'll check it and everything will be tits. If not, this week I'm going to do some digging to see what kind of alternative fuel pumps are available that are made in the good old US of A that theoretically will at least work the 4 to 5 pounds. And if not, fine, I'll buy the electric fuel pump and do what needs to be done. Anyway, I just wanted to share that's sort of the latest and greatest with Mavis. She doesn't start right up, but when she starts, she idles fantastically. Again, you give her just a little bit of gas, the beans just a little bit, and she bog downs and dies, which leads us to believe it is not the right pressure at the fuel pump, or the carbs need to be rebuilt. Potential vacuum leak, which I've done, reasonably good. What's what I'm looking for? I've made a good effort to make sure there aren't any massive vacuum leaks. So I don't think that's it. It's either not getting the right amount of fuel, too much fuel, or the carbs just need to be rebuilt. So we'll do some more checking and looking. Like I said, I'm going to get my buddy to lop that off properly. I could do it with a hacksaw, but I'm just afraid I'd, be honest with you, fuck it all up. I mean, he's got the right equipment. He'll do it lickety-split. No, I can't say it. He'll do it very quickly. Anyway, and properly. And it'll thread into the carb, and everything will be wonderful. We'll get the right PSI. Everything will be magical and great. Pop-Tarts and rainbows. And we'll be able to get that car out of the driveway. Anyway, in this world where you can be anything you want, you be kind, you be humble, be forgiving, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you soon. Bye.